Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Have you ever drafted an Overbust Bustier and it didn't fit right? In this tutorial, I will show you step-by-step method how to get a clean and well-fitted result. Let's begin.
Here I have my pattern paper on fold. What I'm going to do now is to mark the starting line, which will also serve as a shoulder point. So this is where the measurement is going to start from. Now I'll place my tape rule at that point. I'll mark the bust point, the underbust, and the half length. Bust point, underbust, waistline. So the next measurement I'm going to take now is the length of the top. So I'll place my tape rule on the waistline. I will go down by 7 inches. So go ahead and determine how long you want your top to be. You can use 6, you can use 8, you can use 9. It depends on how long you want your top to be. So this is the blouse length. The next thing I'll do now, I'll come to this shoulder point. I'll mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. So go ahead and put down your shoulder measurement at that point. Then still at that point, come down by 1 inch. Then for the neck width, I'll be using 3 inches by 3 inches. Though this neckline is not necessary.
Keep watching.
So as we progress, you will get to know why I say it's not necessary. Okay? So I connect it that way. After that, I'll connect the shoulder slope back to the neck width like this. The next measurement we're going to take now is the chest line. So I'll place my tape like this and mark my chest line. To get this measurement, divide your bust measurement by 6. Whatever it gives you, add 1.5 to the measurement. Then I'll extend this line. The next measurement we're going to take now is our nipple to nipple measurement, also known as our bust span. So in case you don't know how to take this measurement, place your tape from one nipple to the other nipple. Whatever measurement you have, that is your bust span measurement. Then go ahead and divide it by 2. Then put it down just like I did mine. Then connect to get a straight line. I'll go out here by 1 inch, then out here by ½ inch. If you are on a big size, you can do 1.5 on this side and 1 inch on this side. So after that, I'll connect it. So the next step now is to curve this back to the bust point. So just watch carefully how I connect this. I will come over to this point. I'll find the midpoint of this line. Now at that point, I'll come in by ½ inch. Remember, this is our chest line. So on the chest line, I'll mark quarter of my bust measurement. This is so I can curve the armhole. Then I'll connect this way. What we're going to do now is to connect from this bust point back to this midpoint. So I'm going to connect it this way. At the midpoint, I'll place my tape this way and I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I'll connect it back to this point. After doing that, I'll extend it by 1 inch. This is so we don't have shortage of fabric at this point. So when you're joining the side front back to the center front, you won't have shortage of fabric here. So that's why we extend it by 1 inch. Then I'll replace that 1 inch here. Then connect it to that point. So you see what it looks like. The next step now is to take our horizontal measurements. So I'll come to the bust point. I'll mark quarter of my bust measurement. Then you can go ahead and mark your underbust if your underbust measurement is different from your waist measurement. But for this person, waist measurement is the same as the underbust. So I'll move over to the end line. I'll mark quarter of my hip measurement. Then I'll replace this dart. Always make sure to replace your dart. Whatever dart you take out on your pattern, make sure to replace it. So I'll also replace it. That here I have 1.5, so that is what I'm replacing on the hip line and also on the waist line. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and connect this to form my bodice. The next thing I'm going to do now is to come to the bust point. I'll come down here by 1.5. This is gotten from the difference between your back half length and your front half length. So for this person, the front half length is 15.5 and the back half length is 14 inches. So get the difference between your back half length and the front half length and put it down just like I did mine. So we'll be cutting this out as well as this. Now we're going to create the overbust. To do that, on your chest line, go up by 6 inches. You can do 6.5. It depends on how high you want it to be. So just do what you are comfortable with. But just make sure that whatever measurement you choose to use, make sure it doesn't get to your shoulder so it doesn't look funny. So I'm using 6 inches for mine because I don't want it so high. After putting that down, I'll just use my curve rule and connect it this way. If you don't have the curve rule, you can use your hand. So you see what I have there. So this is the reason I said the neck depth we put down here is not necessary. Yeah, it's not necessary because of the overbust, but I just put it down so we could, understand what we were drafting. So I'm going to clean that off and make this visible for us to see what it looks like. I'll come up by 1 inch at the end line. You can do 1.5, just do what you feel comfortable with. Okay, then cut it. So you see what I have there. The next thing now, I'm going to cut this out. Then I'll cut open my bust parts. So just watch what I'm doing. Then I'm going to cut this area out. I'm trying to close the bust parts, so I'll open up this point. So this will enable me close my bust parts. So you can see, then tape it down this way. After doing that, I'm going to blend this point so that we don't have shortage of fabric. So just watch how I connect it. Then we'll cut it out. I'll take this out, so I'll be able to tape this down also. This is the side front and this is the center front. This is the overbust. I'm going to open this so you guys can see. So by the time I join this is what we're going to have. Can you see what it looks like? I'm going to put this aside so we can draft the back pattern. Just like I did on the front, I went in and marked the starting point, which is also our shoulder point. So I'm going to take the measurement just like we did on the front pattern. So I'll mark the bust point. At the back, we don't need the under bust. We're just going to mark the bust point and the back half length. For this person is 14 inches. So mark your back half length. This is the bust point, the waistline. Just like I did on the front, I'll place my tape rule. On the waistline, I'll come down by 7 inches. The next step now is to mark the zipper allowance. So here, I'll be using 1.5 for the zipper allowance. So go ahead and determine how many inches you want for yours. You can use 2 inches, you can use 1 inch. It just depends on what you want. So I'll come here and mark my shoulder measurements. At that point, I'll come down by 1 inch. I'll come here and mark 3 inches for the neck width. Then for the back neck depth, I'll use 1 inch. Then connect the shoulder slope back to the neck width. The next measurement now is to mark the chest line, just like on the front, just like we did on the front pattern. Note, my measurement is starting from the zipper allowance. This is the zipper allowance. So this is the chest line now. I'll find the midpoint of this line, which is 3.5. Then I'll mark quarter of my bust so I can curve the armhole. We don't need to go in by ½ inch at the midpoint because this is the back armhole. The next thing to do now is to mark our bust span measurements, just like we did on the front pattern. Then I'll connect. On the waistline, I'll go out here by ½ inch. On the M line, I'll come up by 2 inches. The next step now is to take our horizontal measurement. So I'll place my hip measurement at this M line. There's no dart at that point, so I'll just mark only my hip measurement. I'll move over to the waist line. I'll mark quarter of my waist measurement. Then I'll replace this dart. I have 1 inch, so I'll replace it. Always replace your dart. Whatever dart you take out on your pattern, make sure you replace it. Then I'll move over to the bust point. I'll mark quarter of my bust measurement. Then I'll connect to form my bodice. On the M line, I will come up by 1 inch and curve it back to this point. On the zipper allowance, I will come out here by 0.75. Then I'll connect it this way. This is to eliminate the zipper bulge at the back. So I'm cutting this out. Determine how you want the back neckline to be. For mine, I want it to be a little bit curvy. I'll be coming down by 0.75 at that point. You can do 1 inch. It depends on how deep you want it to be. And if you want to maintain a straight back neckline, you can just cut it straight on the chest line like this. But for mine, I want it to be a little bit curvy. That's why I came down by that. So you see what I have there? That's how I want it to look. The next step now is to cut it out. Then I'll cut off this part. I'll notch my zipper allowance so that when transferring this to my fabric, I'll also be able to notch it on my fabric. So this is the back pattern. If you want your pattern to be 2-piece, you can just cut your dart out, just cut off your dart and you have the 2-piece. But for my own, I want it to be like this. So I'm going to be cutting 2 of this on my main fabric. Then I'll add my seam allowance because I didn't add it on the pattern paper. So I'm going to bring in the front. When cutting the front on your main fabric, you're going to cut ×2 of this. You can see I have 2 of it already, so I'll be cutting 2 of this on my main fabric. Then for this center piece, you're going to place your fabric on fold and cut it out. Make sure to add ½ inch for sewing allowance. You can see that it doesn't have a joining at the center point, so when cutting it on your main fabric, there shouldn't be a joining. Make sure your fabric is on fold. So this is what our pattern looks like. This is the back. If you have any question, make sure to drop it in the comment section. And if this was helpful, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.